All right, let's talk about one of those stories that just gets under your skin. You know the kind. It's a modern urban legend, really, about a lonely road, a late-night bus driver, and, well, a passenger who has no business being there.
So picture this. It's deep in the night, way past midnight. The city's gone quiet, the streets are pretty much empty, and the very last bus of the night is heading back to the depot.
And on this bus, there's just the driver and one other person, a single passenger, probably just trying to get home late. Seems totally normal, right?
Well, here's where it all starts to get weird. Because when the driver is asked about it later, he swears up and down he never stopped, not once. After leaving the main station, he says the door is stayed shut the whole time. He didn't pick anybody up.
So, who's telling the truth? The driver or your own eyes seeing a passenger on the bus? Luckily, there's an unbiased witness, right? The security camera. And what that little camera saw is the part that'll really get you.
Because the footage is crystal clear. The bus, it was totally empty the whole time. No one ever boarded. That last passenger simply wasn't real. And that is the legend we're breaking down today.
Okay, so let's dive into the specifics here. Our story takes place in a town that has that one bus route everyone talks about, Route 17. The other drivers, they hate it. The locals, they avoid it like the plague after dark. But still, every single night at 12:30 a.m., that last bus has to make its run.
And who's driving this dreaded route? The new guy, of course. His name's Arman. He's young, a little cocky, and more importantly, he doesn't buy into any of it. He's heard all the whispers from the other drivers about Route 17, and he just thinks it's a bunch of silly superstitions. Ghost stories? Nah, not for him.
So right before his first shift on the route, one of the old-timers pulls him aside. He gives Arman this cryptic little piece of advice. He just says, "Don't stop after the bridge, because someone might ask you to."
So, Arman's on his first trip. And of course, the night is just perfectly set up for a horror story, you know? The roads are deserted, the streetlights are kind of flickering, and this thick fog has rolled in, covering everything. It's quiet, a little too quiet.
And wouldn't you know it, just like the old guy warned, he sees a figure standing by the bridge. It's a woman, and she's wearing a white dress. Arman kind of hesitates for a second, but she raises her hand, so he does his job. He stops and opens the door. She gets on, doesn't say a single word, walks all the way to the back, and sits in the very last seat. And for the whole ride, she's just still, silent.
So he gets to the end of the line. He calls out, "Last stop!" and gets nothing back. Silence. He glances up at his rearview mirror, and she's gone. The seat is completely empty. It's like she just evaporated. Now, at this point, Arman's mind is racing, right? He's trying to rationalize it. She must have just slipped off when I wasn't looking. But the whole thing felt off. It's bugging him. So he thinks, okay, you know what? I'll just check the tape. The CCTV will clear all this up. He pulls up the footage from his route, rewinding to that moment at the bridge. He's really just looking for a simple confirmation that she was real, that he wasn't imagining things. But what the camera saw, well, that's a whole different story. And this is where your blood runs cold. Look at this. In Arman's memory, it's vivid. He stopped the bus, a woman got on, she sat in the back. But the CCTV footage, it shows the door opening to absolutely nothing. It shows an empty seat for the entire trip. It even shows Arman talking to what looks like thin air. According to the camera, he was completely alone. So naturally, Arman is pretty freaked out. But that skepticism of his, it's a powerful thing. He refuses to believe it. No way, he thinks, it can't be a ghost. The camera must have glitched. Maybe I was just tired. He decides there's only one way to prove to himself it was all just a fluke. He has to drive Route 17 again, the very next night. So the next night comes and he approaches the bridge. And there she is again. Same woman, same white dress, just waiting in the fog. But this time, Arman has a plan. He's not stopping. He just grips the wheel, puts his foot down, and speeds right past her. He doesn't even look back. He thinks he's beaten it. He lets out this huge sigh of relief. But then, he happens to glance up at his rearview mirror. And his heart just drops into his stomach. Because even though he never stopped, even though the doors never opened, she's there, sitting in the very last seat.
And right then, everything just falls apart for Arman. The lights inside the bus start to flicker erratically. The engine sputters and then just dies, plunging the bus into total darkness and silence. And then, from the back of the bus, a voice finally speaks. The voice is just a whisper, but it seems to fill up the whole bus. She starts telling him her story. She says, 5 years ago, my car broke down on that bridge, right in that exact spot.
She tells him how she waited and waited for someone, anyone, to help. She saw bus after bus drive right past, ignoring her as she tried to flag them down. Not a single one stopped. They just left her all alone in the dark.
And then you can hear the change in her voice. It goes from sad to something else, something cold and full of anger. She delivers this final, chilling line. So now, I ride with them. And with that, the lights go out for good.
Fast forward to the next morning. The police find the bus abandoned on the side of the road, right near the bridge. The doors are hanging open, the engine is cold. And Arman? He's just gone. He has vanished without a trace.
The investigators find one last, absolutely terrifying piece to the puzzle when they review the CCTV footage. The recording cuts out, just stops, at exactly 12:41 a.m. In the very last frame the camera captured, it's her, the woman in the white dress. She's not in the back of the bus anymore. No, she's standing right next to the driver's seat, looking directly into the camera, and she's smiling.
So what is it about a story like this that sticks with us? It's more than just a ghost story, isn't it? It's a trap. It's built around this impossible choice between doing the right thing and, well, saving yourself. Her entire haunting exists because driver after driver chose to just keep going all those years ago, and now the legend ensures that no one on Route 17 can ever make that same choice so easily. Which brings us to the final chilling question. If you were behind the wheel, what would you do? Would you stop, or would you keep driving?